advantage down, and that they do, but EJ and Brain Freeze so dangerously low against RU Ryu, who's been very, very stable and been very reliable in the clutch.
Here.
Smoke is about to dissipate in just a matter. Are already at the challenge, but there's just more players from BREN that are willing or are able to actually go for the fight. Pick up a couple of upgraded pistols here. And Alpha Esports not really expecting the aggression. Almost worked out, but BREN Esports just slightly ahead.
Absolutely. The number advantage, ever so slight, but still made all the difference in the world. Potentially yet another round on the board for BREN. But once again, Alpha, one of those teams that just make big plays, pull it out of their hat for absolutely no reason. It does look like EJ has postured himself to be in an aggressive position. And he even finds the fruit of his labors by destroying and removing Ching from the second round. It does look like Jian slowly crawling up. Freeze, who's been very, very solid on this A site, still holding it down along with Symbol. These classics, what can they do? Unless Jian's just gonna run for this, but he doesn't. He preps the dash. Moves up in the world, finds a duel, and even finds a frag on Symbol. That's gonna be a free Spectre for him. A little perilous as Xavi is there to prepare for the weapon take.
Enemy remaining.
Jin just, well, hoping that maybe he can at least survive. Just a couple of seconds longer for a trade or so, but being able to plant that spike, always the good case. Loving the play there from Giansanity. You saw that he was supposedly gonna chase for the kill, but decided otherwise because he didn't have a teammate that will have gotten for the refrag. The angle was pretty much to his disadvantage, so he just wrapped around where I think opponents were actually expecting. BREN was actually expecting the swing on Maze. So whether it just had that minuscule impact, the little bit of aggression and re-aggression from Giansanity and the rest of Alpha Esports, you do see at least give them that extra kill and plant on the spike, which overall, you know, for the money, the creds, pretty important.
Here.
Oh yeah. One of the biggest problem Alpha has though is that there's not a lot of depth with this comp, and there's not a lot of depth when it comes to the strat book. It's really just setting up their duelists for success, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But once you play against a flexible team like BREN, you do see those problems sorta really be emphasized. But right now we're going for a slower default. Giansanity with a very, very aggressive peek here. Could have been very, very dangerous for him. But it's BREN playing a very passive defense at the moment, kind of just waiting for them to play into the range of these Spectres.
This is going to be very important that they actually do get that, because again, this is the double whammy of Giansanity and Jin, but as he is playing on top 410, can't really give the support that he needs to for the Jet. And they've lost a bit of control here. The slow orb just, again, slowing down the pace even further. Might force AEP to just go back. Jin is just managing all of these Vandals just so that, you know, BREN can't pick it up. We'll start to be looking towards this B site. The problem here now lies, Raph,
30 seconds
there
left.
is that trademark. So whether they want to go for B or A, they still will be spotted by the majority of BREN, if not. But the good thing about this is that there's no defenders clearly on the site right as of now. Oh, that's slow. That's going to be really painful. That's going to give them time to actually rotate faster onto the site.
They didn't go for the free Vandal, though, that was dropped by Jian, which could potentially be one of those micro decisions that snowball, because the range that you have to cover from Snowman into Yellow and just B-side in general can be very, very perilous. But my goodness, Hot Sauce Spectre has been a menace, has been tearing everybody up. He will get topped up by that Sage heal, as Chris M looks to be the rock. He even finds Xavi's collateral damage, but doesn't find his primary target. Like I said, that Spectre has been just a little too strong for AE to handle, and now they even get free upgrades.
I guess they have to call James Bond, you know, to defeat Spectre. Very early,
And
very
we
early.
are
But okay.
starting like this, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's second series, so, you know, you
that
gotta
is
start
true.
it already. That's true. All right, anyways, you know, lame 007 joke aside, that
Aim.
was...
Wow.
All right, hang on. Let me just finish my point first. Okay. Really good stuff from Hot Sauce and the rest. And I was very curious about how this is going to pan out, because there really wasn't anything that AEP could have thrown out that would have stopped BREN from closing in the distance, right? And you mentioned how having the Spectres, they would want to be able to close that as much as they can so that they can be able to utilize the closer range, better damage that the SMGs do bring. But somehow, some way, AEP was just not able to make that happen. And I think one of those reasons why was technically Jin dying so early outside of Kitchen was such a big blow, because he was supposed to be the one that created that that crossfire that AEP could have utilized. And because without of it, AEP just didn't have the necessary firepower. And Ching coming all the way around through Tube, this wasn't really what the doctor ordered.
Oh my
Spike
goodness.
down A.
And Alpha Esports getting pretty much battered on this A site. Barely had any success, but Ching flexing his A muscles here, finding Symbol. Jin still does have this Guardian, but unfortunately for him, the post-plant plan didn't fall through. He's a little bit of Doom action there with that view model, but Jin landing true on Xavi, at least making this round somewhat expensive. But EJ and the rest of the BREN boys, they hold
30
on
seconds left.
to that side with the utmost discipline and the utmost urgency to not drop around and to not hamper their economy even more. And as I said, Asar, I love this discipline that BREN always shows. But, I'm not entirely sure what that's about, but there you go. He gives me a little bit of assurance, maybe even more. 10 seconds, you can clutch this, but Jin's sanity gets the trade. He has to stick this. Oh, but Hot Sauce, oh so reliable. Not this time, as the rope is not going to provide him enough mobility. Oh, dear me.
Never try to fake Gian sanity. If you're gonna commit, you gotta commit. He's just too fast on the reaction. So good. He already saw him too.
Eliminate.
I think he was just trying to make me bait Gian for the most part. So that's on Hot Sauce. Look at that. He was just going up and down the ropes, man.
It's one of those things that became a domino effect. Me personally, I thought that BREN would have been ideal if they just stayed backside, because they even had spike control.
Yeah.
And with the time allotted for AE to actually plant, they either had to plant for a very unsafe, or not unsafe, but a very hard to defend on a post plant. But Hot Sauce, it's like, you shot me in the head, I'll shoot Jin. Doesn't matter. Let's bring this back. Let's calm down. And EJ even finds Ching. And suddenly AE crumbling yet again.
Very cheeky wall. Gives AEP no control for close, so they're gonna have to wrap around all the way on yellow, where Hot Sauce, Savvy, and EJ, who has an op by the way, he's just waiting on the cross here. Mid could be a deterrent, but it is going to be interesting to see how that kind of goes. Somehow though, Spike was still able to get planted. I love this. EJ now kind of just besmirched because his teammate was just not able to help him out. And look at this pinch coming in from Chris M. Beautifully executed here from AEP. Just bit of a cut of noise, just taking it slow and steady is just what they needed to do.
Oh.
Savvy's been knocked out, and Brain Freeze left on an island. Will have his smoke to get things tapped first. Try to isolate some fights. And,
What?
He
died.
Spray control.
Yes.
He was first, but somehow Jin's still won the fight. Okay.
Sometimes it is what it is. I'd like to circle back on your points that you made about trying to isolate fights, because I feel like that's one of the worst ideas against AE. They're just also mechanically gifted. We've seen that, and
yeah,
I feel like in the 5v5 situation, BREN definitely has the upper hand, not just because of the utility shuffle. Another thing is that Alpha Esports, if you don't address this backline, you're gonna have so many problems. I know that Jin Sanity and Jin have been stealing the show, or not really stealing, but having all the eyes on them. But when you let Chris M and literally Ching and the rest of the team, Ryu, you let them loose in the late round, their late round decision making has been absolutely outstanding. You've seen them win so many 3vx situations. You even see a tag on Hot Sauce. Brain Freeze has something to say to Chris M, and it's not very pleasant, as he is going to deny orb control, even popping ulti. But it's not meant to be, as Jin is unfazed. And ooh, that is not going to be good at all for BREN. Very expensive in terms of the ult economy now. And even at the cusp of losing. But Hot Sauce, he failed one clutch. And unfortunately, this is not the one to double back on that.
Dang, I'm loving how Jin just played that entry onto B main. Good shot from a Brain Freeze, though. But look at this. He just knew that Brain Freeze wouldn't have the time to whip out his weapon and actually fight back. So even through the obscurity of the Viper's Pit, he just chased it down because he had, let's say, about an 80% good idea where Brain Freeze was going to be at. And again, he's going to have to run because Viper's Pit does slow down Viper quite a huge margin. So with that, BREN, yeah, they just called themselves a bit of a break, just 1 minute to figure things out. What is happening?
Good timeout. Very, very solid timeout, actually, because the commanding lead that they built, or at least the commanding first 3 rounds, doesn't seem all that intimidating to AE anymore. With them heating up. And I see the strategy for AE is basically early round, Gian and Jin, they are going to go at least try and tear the opposing team and you and try to tear them in half. Meanwhile, Chris M, Ryu Ryu, and Ching the God, Ching, they've been very, very formidable when it came to the late round situations. Actually, I think the first 3 rounds that they actually lost Ching first. There were a lot of opening picks on Ching, but the moment they keep him alive, it just seems like it's a different story for Alpha Esports, bro.
Does give them much control, though, right? So with all of that, it's very, very important for them to keep the man alive. Another operator from Hot Sauce. They're really committing to this very expensive buy.
Caution.
I don't know if I'm a fan
I can't
of
believe this. I thought
but-
if Jin got away with that Astra, that would have been unbelievable. Just
not against
walks up-
Savvy. Exactly.
Here.
That's
We're
right.
agreeing now. Well, I do agree in that phrase or statement that you were just able to
Spew out, basically.
spew out. Yeah, lay in front of the audience. Exactly.
Yes.
Present before the benefactors, which is our audience. Exactly.
Yet another slow default on the side of Alpha Esports Pro. That is a little bit of a mouthful to say.
Scanning
No
ahead.
mid control, as they did lose Jin early on, and Savvy very happy that he does have that res up in case. Now this is the approach that the BREN want to do. They don't want to take those direct gunfights. They don't want to feed into the heat of Jin, and basically everyone else on AAP. Now, 30 seconds left. One of these teams have to commit, and it does look like it's going to be Chris M, the first to crack. Now he is going to put down that spike, or at least have an attempt to do so. Symbol gets the first shot, even the last, onto Ching. Ching couldn't really retaliate. The operator scares him away, but that's about it. Brain Freeze finds Gian even midair. And the refinement, the system that BREN have put in place, we see it in full display.
Okay, that might have been a more harmful than useful Viper's Pit. Yes, it does give them that cover, that obscurity to get into the site, but you saw how shallow it was technically on the side itself where they have to plant the spike in. So this forced Alpha Esports to just get outside of the aggressive heat. It might have worked, but I don't think it was simultaneous enough that it would have mattered anyway, because Ching came out, actually spotted Symbol, lost the fight, and then GN Sanity follows up. So maybe if they comboed it a little bit more condensed, we might have seen a different outcome for Alpha Esports there. It was very messy, very risky. And again, I guess you do see the impact with losing Jing, especially that he has the only quote-unquote flash ability that AAP needs. They do really need that Lear somehow, or just the firepower this Vietnamese player is able to bring to the roster.
One thing that people don't realize about Reina is that to a lot of the players who, just kind of play the game, Reina is the ultimate solo agent, when in reality, she needs so much babysitting for her to actually go and be as efficient as she can be. Because that's what she is. She's made to be a main rifler. She's made to last in the fight. And with the utility of just realistically only having a Lear as your flash, and you only have a Dismiss and a Devour that's incredibly conditional, by the way, it's a very high responsibility agent that a lot of people don't seem to understand. They've been doing it, and rather, they've been employing that agent so well. But it's matches like this where the weakness gets accentuated. Now we see a little bit of A control here. unfazed still is Bren. They do send a little bit of support towards the back line, so this is still going to be a 4-stack. What I'm curious about is that they haven't really flushed out Xavi from holding this mid position if the VODs came through. This was something he did so often in their previous matchup, which I believe was against RRQ. Correct me if I'm mistaken, Azrae. Yeah, my memory is a little... I think I am, right? But what was the previous match? But in any case, what we are looking forward to is everybody just winning out their duels. EJ will try to hold it down. Symbol is a man from heaven. Will delay the advance, but apparently it's not enough. As Jing, he is going to shoulder tackle every single person on this site. It's up to Freeze to try and clutch this out. The crossfires are already being set up. Not a lot of utility on both sides. Double snake bite is still in Brain Freeze pocket, so he has a few corners that he doesn't necessarily have to face check, but this post plant is going to be very, very difficult. Maybe they're gonna go for some sort of crazy play. But AE, they have this round to win.
Oh, there you go. He's giving away his position. That's going to activate about every single utility that AEP had in their pockets to use for the post. Yeah, Freeze just had a very, very daunting task just to even find one to whittle down numbers and maybe even hope to go for that super strong before he starts using the spike. But he wanted to get the stimuli quickly. Stimuli was just too much for him to handle. But look at this double kill from Jing the God. Ooh, and ooh.
The
very goodness on that spray transfer. Yeah, he activated so quick.
As we mentioned, again, for some reason, my memory is quite blurry who Bren played against last, or at least in their most recent matchup. But
actually,
this is what
both these teams went against now, the most recent.
Oh yeah, there we go. It's now. So the way that Xavi has been playing that mid is that he's very reactive. He'll jiggle it just a tiny bit, see if he can find contact, and maybe even get a cheeky kill. But then later on in the rounds, he'll pop the wall, maybe deny a little bit of that forward presence towards them, force them towards tunnel. The hot sauce doesn't really care if I'm explaining because he'll find first trade. But Jin looks like he's the one who's trying to activate. EJ on the other side of the world nearly finds a third. But Jing having a bit of a replay of his previous round, dominating that backside. The wall for the retake, it falls, but so does Brain Freeze before it could find any value. And now we have Symbol, potentially maybe a symbol of hope for Bren. The Leer is going to come out, forcing him to shoot or to stand still. He chose the latter. Who will he find first? It's Jin. But Jin finishes off his 4K in a very clean manner.
Unfortunately, doesn't get the ace. Oh, but
you would. Memories.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
But I will say though, there is this very much element of Bren playing very catch-offy. I know that's not a word, but you see that where Hot Sauce just reaches the angle and wants to be getting the trade as soon as can be. But the problem therein lies, I think, with their jitteriness. AAP just do not get phased at all and don't start clearing things way too early. They've been waiting a lot more for Bren to just repeat the angle. And again, the same thing keeps happening round after round. And Bren just keeps getting punished. Although Savvy, if he can hit this shot again, maybe gives him a fighting chance. Does peeks out, excuse me, but loses the fight against Aryu. But the damage be done, 2 versus 3. Symbol coming to the back of the side. He hasn't been lucky with the past couple. But maybe this time, as he swings further beyond, he will be able to spot Chris M. Tag does come through, and Brain Freeze's angle has been spotted. Only left on the Symbol. But he will not be the symbol of hope this time. He will be the symbol of despair as BREN Esports loses another round. Almost. Maybe the Thrifty because of the efforts of Savvy.
Savvy showing why he's on a meteoric rise and why lots and lots of teams would love to have a player like him. Before this round, though, I kind of want to circle back. We did see Gian try to swing towards A main, but did you notice that there were no players on the A side towards Belt? And that's just indicative of how Bren has somewhat conditioned them. Despite even losing this eco, they've been kind of foregoing that Belt control on the side of AE just because of EJ's early aggression and Symbol's support. But Jin, fearless, I don't need no Leer. But that he does that time. Symbol backpedaling just a tiny bit. Tries to be a little more compressed to this team. I didn't even see Jin stop. So quickly as Brain Freeze finds Ching. Now the flanks are open and ripe for the taking. And the Beast of the Maze will fall finally. Chris M having a very Theseus-like effort
Spike
there.
planted.
Hot Sauce and EJ on the job for the clutch. Still approaching this from mid and from heaven, as they don't really have the time to spend to really clear for that post plant. This Wonder Duo have been so reliable for BREN. Can they do it again? The drone finally comes out as they've been saving it for the post plant, and that's going to burn even more time, Asarai.
These might have to save this one, don't they? Oh, never mind. Hot Sauce is still going to go onto the site itself, but EJ gets spotted immediately. There's no more time again. The pulse
remaining.
is just coming in preemptively firing, but the Hunter's Fury is here. He can maybe gobble up one charge, but there's no more time anymore. He'll have to just escape with his life, with the weapon, and with the 2K, but not even going to be able to save the rifle coming into that next.
Last round in the
Unfortunate.
half.
Love the pre-fire and the prediction shots from Hot Sauce, but it was just not meant to be. AEP, they got this so well in the bag, especially with the entry fragging of Jin, as we saw in the start of the
Enemy
round.
remaining.
And I believe we're very close to yet another reset on the side of BREN's economy. Once again, AE swinging ferociously, unfazed at all. You'd think BREN would make the adjustment. Maybe they're kind of dry firing us, or dry suing us so much. Maybe we can use quite a number of our utility to really stop them. But again, hindsight is 2020, and when you are in the heat of the moment, there's no real bad choice. But EJ, who's been expressing his displeasure with this, Hot Sauce as well. All the ults are coming alive, and the undoing of AE slowly unraveling in front of our eyes. Ching does finally get a frag onto EJ, but the damage has been done. They finally get a bit of a break against the AE train, and a few free upgrades for Hot Sauce if they can manage to find those weapons. But still, we have a minute left. I like how AE still has not disengaged from this B attack. They still want to fight.
Because, oh, never mind. I think because if giving Hot Sauce some time to reposition, he's going to be pretty ready for the swing onto yellow here. Preemptively just shooting up, but Chris M expertly baiting it out. The wall allowing him to get closer and closer.
Player
timing!
No way, Hot Sauce still gets the shot on that one. This will make it absolutely horrendous for Ching to go ballistic. 3 versus 1. He still has the operator, but he will get forced back by the drone. 20 seconds in time is not on his side. Able to pick up the Phantom here. He's done this before against Talon. He's posted it on Twitter, but this time he has nothing to post on the social media, as he does get spotted and dropped by the rest of BREN. 5-7. AEP still have the advantage though.
And Mr. Twitter himself gives everybody a gentle reminder that he sees everything. I do not. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. His watchful eye. Your watchful eye is so strong.
I will argue though that Mr. Twitter for us has to be
One enemy remaining.
even though the Insanity and Ching
Down.
post some pretty nasty highlights.
I'm talking about you though, dog. What's
Oh,
up?
okay.
You are Mr. Twitter. You see everything. You see all. As we have a bit of a breather. So now here's the thing. We talk about the utility and the lack of utility on the side of AE. Maybe this is going to really show on the side of, or at least on their defensive side. Because what are they going to do against the retake? What are they going to do, etc., etc.? It will definitely unravel, but the info gathering on the side of BREN... Actually, no, now that I think about it, since they have a very reactionary Sage, and they have a Chamber, which is, once again, not necessarily the most utility powerhouse in the game, especially after the trademark nerf. Why? I don't get it.
Is it out already? It's not yet out, right? There's still 2 trademarks here.
Are
We're
there?
still at 4.08. I think that's
Oh, yeah.
4.09.
Still, even still, he's still one of the most contact-heavy Sentinels in the game.
Yeah.
No matter how you put it, 4.08 or 4.09.
Yeah. I mean, if you put it in the hands of somebody like Hot Sauce, right? Or Ching, then it doesn't matter.
That's true.
He's still kind of cray-cray with it. One
thing that I have noticed with these teams, they're not very heavy on tube or mid control. At least on AE's attacking side, they've been either going for full on very direct site attacks. They don't have, or at least they didn't establish lurking threats, making their site takes a little more predictable and a lot less space they can work with, which is really strange because Jin and G Insanity, they really thrive off of that space, as we saw in all their highlights and basically all the flashes of brilliance that we're somewhat accustomed to already.
Ooh, that dart there gave the position, but there's like 2 trademarks coming in from mid and B main. Being forced to TP back onto Snowman. He will get spotted by Brain Freeze. Lots of numbers already from Bren here. Chris M already hoping that maybe he can allow the rest of AEP on the aggressive flank to give them that nice little pinch. And it might actually work. Jin's found the kill already. Savvy's still backing away, very afraid. And somehow they dismantled the attack of Bren. And look at this, there's only Hot Sauce and EJ to remain. The charge right in. And there's just absolutely no way that Hot Sauce can do it, right? Hot Sauce can do this, right? Yeah. Not gonna happen. That was...
It was messy. It was really messy. But this is where this lineup thrives. At least on the side of AE. I love how the moment the information that the Viper was doing, we just saw it just go W key. It's like, you know what? You're not getting away. And it even bore so many fruits for them. Opening up the site, opening up B main and whatnot. And AE, off to an impressive start. The Guardian buy on Jin. A lot of trust, a lot of confidence. And sometimes that's all you need as a Reyna. Oh, but Hot Sauce has something to say. Hot Sauce is probably thinking, I am too beautiful to deal with the Guardian. And that is one of the reasons why he's been so impactful. If it's not for his decision-making, it's his absolutely crisp adjustments. Now, hey, they're kind of making a mad scramble here to take that Guardian, to deny any free weapons, as the numbers advantage unexpectedly going into the side of Bren. Bren denying a clean swing. Looks to take a fight, but EJ drawing an outline outside of G and just cannot find the duel.
Unfortunately, EJ prematurely had to use his dash. I think they were maybe expecting that AEP was just going to be closer, but this contact style, or contact way of play that Bren is just using, just working the clock, peeking angles, is slowly but surely working in their favor. Actually able to do some really good damage. The map control's almost there. But almost everybody from AEP is already here waiting for that aggressive swing. G Insanity is just down to 43. I wonder why he kept the ghost. Maybe he has enough money to buy an operator next round, mayhaps. But
most likely.
Yeah, 15 seconds. Gonna have to run right in. Lots of making a lot of noise. Spots out G Insanity. Still actually through the bait of the recon dart, makes it even more expensive. We're left on the symbol. He's somewhere here at 410. He needs to start pushing in because, again, if he doesn't die, that's going to be 1,000 that he only gets in terms of the creds. He will get knocked off, in AEP, as the cells here, Raph. They're the ones coming out on top 9-5.
They even still managed to get the Guardian, and Jin happily reunites with this baby. And like you mentioned, Jin, I believe after this bonus, we'll have an op. Let's get that slight upgrade in the martial art. I think that was passed around by his teammate. Either way, Bren also showing that bravado, that they refused to back away from the site. I think A already had a full stack, and they had that slight window where they could have crossed, but once again, we do have that spectator Sharingan that we can see every single thing that's happening. And now we see a little bit of aggression on the side of A. They might drop a wall here just to isolate one of these angles, but instead they've already dropped it towards A to prep for a retake. Maybe this is enough to dissuade Bren, but Hot Sauce, who's been absolutely on fire on first contact, has no idea that Ryu is doing his warm-up routine. Gotta work on those legs. Can't have those cramps. Gotta stretch properly. Xavier is still worrying about that early aggression that was shown once, but has already displayed signs of wariness. It's inflicted that mental damage.
They're gonna have to do something soon. They do not want to push aside with just 20 seconds and then maybe just be hopeful that nothing happens. They don't get punished, right? Oh, man. Bren, this is a very
Oh, they're
passive
drone.
yet uneventful, uneventful
That's
round for them. Because
interesting.
again, they don't get any information from this one. They're gonna have to rush into the site,
30
pretty
seconds
blind
left.
and checking every single corner.
I honestly thought that drone was a little I didn't think they needed to do that. Now Ching even gets a free frag, manages to get out. That Phantom will stay safe, but freeze in EJ. They find both Ryu and the lone rifle on the side of AE, but
no.
look at this. Timer is running out.
10
We still see
seconds
Chris M. He doesn't have that pit, but he does have that smoke down.
No!
If he denies this, he stays alive. That's all he has to do. But the damage has been done. The eco's somewhat ruined. Bren, they do catch up just a tiny bit here. The 3-round swing still fairly in their favor, but look at this, their economy in shambles.
That cloud burst from EJ to quote unquote give him cover might have actually lost him the round. If Hotsos just didn't get that quick little
10
refrag,
seconds
that would have been absolutely horrendous. Look at this. He didn't have to smoke that. Hotsos was already going to left. And Chris M almost got the free pass for a kill and then back into cover. That was very, very risky for Bren. And as you mentioned, their utility or their money's in shambles.
Ooh.
But EJ with the blades come back out. Asteroid, I heard you. But I'm still better than you. Of course you are, buddy. 100%.
Relax, man. Once again, we are absolute students and fans of the game, and every single thing they're lighting up. Oh my god, Ching! What? That could have been the clip of a lifetime.
Oh, man.
But getting a little too antsy, getting a little too excited, losing that surprise factor. And they're gonna be looking for that aggressive angle next time around. Jin gets sliced up as EJ's been an absolute star. All up to Jin is Arena. That Empress is only a frag away. But conditions upon conditions, he has to break this wall. No time being wasted. The shock dart is going to miss, as well as that snake bite. That's not really going to delay him, but instead he chooses to go towards Kitchen and Hot Sauce. He has no idea where he is. But now he might actually get the timing if he swings towards A. No, his back does get exposed, but he will survive and he will run away, position himself towards his rendezvous. Jin forced to save now.
It's like EJ heard me. I mean, they're not supposed to be in our call. Can they hear me?
They're not. It's just
Okay.
sometimes players, they have this, I feel like
The caster's
a disturbance in the force, you know?
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I'm pretty disturbed with the use of force, so yeah. In Star Wars. He's got to have a high midichlorian count for that.
Pocket sad.
Pockets. Oh
is-
man, I mean, you could. I mean, your
Yeah,
pockets
go
are
ahead.
always full of sand if you're in the the very humid planet of Tatooine.
Here.
I would assume it'd be very dry because it's Tatooine after all.
Here.
Yeah, I don't like sand. It's very coarse and hot.
That's not even how the line goes. It's rough, it's coarse, and it gets everywhere. Of course I know this.
Okay. Okay,
You
Anakin.
underestimate my power.
To be a nerd.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it,
we're all
it
nerds
is
here.
not a surprise. But
Yeah.
on this stifled buy, I think they're really relying on Jin to once again pop off. Hot Sauce has it up, sees the leg, bit of a tease. But Chris M, that's all they're gonna give him, just a tease. They still have a bit of a cushion, but this is gonna disappear very, very quickly. Jin's like, no, it's not. He finds Hot Sauce. They could potentially greed for this op, and Bren, they formulate in their heads. Maybe that's what they're going for. They really want to get that going, so they re-aggress on A. They do get res on the res on Hot Sauce, which is already fairly expensive for them. But if it means securing this round, then no expense is too high. Utility's not going to be on the greatest side here on both these teams. Quite a bit has been put towards that res. Chris M making a mad dash towards B, and EJ has to be wary of this close angle. I don't think he heard Chris, nor he has any idea where he is. He even dashes into him, but he still stays alive as Javi is going to be the broest of bros. Now this
Spike
eco
planted.
is going as potentially planned for Bren, as
One
Ching
enemy
not having
remaining.
the greatest of stretches here. They even lose their lone rifle. The insanity, if he can pull off a clip, That would be cool, but not very likely at this point in time.
I mean, if he gets a kill, he can reset to the blades, but since he is burning a lot of time just to see if anybody from Bren is actually gonna chase him, well, he's not gonna have enough time to try to deal or try to do a clutch. Bren, a relatively flawless victory here, or a flawless round, excuse me, from just the bit of effort from EJ there. He has added these on. He has to die to the smoke. Yeah, there you go. He just dashed right.
He has to.
Oh!
Oh, what? Okay.
Okay,
Well, that's
two.
fine.
Do they have money? How much
Yeah,
money
they do.
have?
Barely though, barely. Well, actually, no,
Yeah,
they have enough for a full buy.
Yeah, they got ROIs. It's fine.
But then again, that could have been an extra round for them, an extra buy potentially, maybe well into overtime if ever that's the case. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to say anything yet. It's only map 1. Really exciting. It's super close and all. But
Yeah.
it is a Sunday, and typically Sundays can be very pedestrian. Not for these teams, though. They are going full speed, full force. As AE, they want to rectify their mistakes, as their gun rounds have not been the cleanest. They haven't been the most calculated either. But it does look like they are going to default just a tiny bit. As I say that, we see both duelists occupying as much space towards main. But Chris M has to hold off this attack from mid all alone. And Bren, they suddenly fall as it's equalized by both Gian and Chris. Jin, now nowhere to be seen because he was eliminated very, very early as the attack somewhat scrambling again. But do they know there is a lurking Ching here? Ching, if he can line up his shots and just stay calm this time around.
Oh, wow.
You hate to see that happen.
You really do. Way out in the open. Basically a somewhat a sentient piñata, you know? You can try to whack it. You can try to maybe pop what's inside, but it's gonna
Sure
try to
did
dodge you. Sentient
Last
piñata.
I
player
like-
standing.
I like the read on Bren here to really aggress towards mid, especially when they were really, really hammering down Are-You Ryu, who was who's been doing his best to really stop the advance of EJ with the blades and all. And now we're tied up. And AE, they're forced to eco again. A semblance of a stable economy is nowhere to be found for AE at the moment. Bren could potentially be at the cusp of hitting double digits.
That being said, right, I gotta say, this attacking operator from Hot Sauce, I wasn't a believer of it, but he was cold sauce.
Because
Couple
he
of
got the
rounds
sauce,
ago.
bro.
He's on the sauce.
He got the sauce.
Yeah, the Pizza Hut sauce. Wait, no, what's the best sauce out there for us?
It depends on what you want to eat. And
But like
Bren's
on
been
a
a
general
universal
stand-
scale?
Yes, I would have to
Uh,
say Japanese mayo. You can put that on almost anything and it works.
There's also a band called Japanese Mayo. Just seems so apt. But like I mentioned, Bren's been eating good. Their economy super robust. And we see a bit of a hero vandal on the side of Jin, who's been trying to get that engine going, but instead has been overheating, has been halted to a crawl, or at least to a full stop. But G Insanity, as clean as he is, will still eventually get traded by Zavi, but Zavi doesn't have that res available. Oh, wow, Jin. It looks like that engine. It's revving, and it's looking to trample every single member of Bren. It is down to a 2v4. They can honestly just play time
Enemy remaining.
and freeze, frozen in place. It's up to Hot Sauce, but Jin is an animal. He finds everything and everyone. And suddenly the Reyna is looking that much more terrifying.
All right, lovely production. Do your thing. We need to see that flick once again. There we go. There it is. All right, that was a good first kill from Gian Sanity. That gives space for his teammate. Look at it. Ooh, you're nasty.
Sound like
That's
Lil
all I can
Pump.
say.
Exactly, in the wise
Oh
words
my
of Lillian Pumpernickel. Ooh.
That's a good spot.
Now, it's one of those things, right? When AE does it, there's no real counterplay because they're just landing nutty shots when it comes to moments like that.
Oh yeah.
But Jing is looking so shaky right now. Hopefully he finds that respite, that fortitude that he's desperately looking for, because once again he's such a key point in AE Pro success. Really is to it was really sad to see these unfortunate events happen to him.
Well, because of those unfortunate events, it forces AEP to start managing, maybe pushing, maybe aggressing through mid. As you see already, Jin very close on the wraparound. There is no trap that can actually spot him as he pushes through near the spawn, but this does give some space for BREN to just come charging right in. Jin Sanity. Oh, wow. They just knew he was about to just explode right then and there. Gonna be planting on default. Somehow manages to hit the shot regardless. And the 4 versus 4 continues. Now, the question now in lies... Okay, never mind. I was going to wonder if Savvy was going to stay on the site or just back away and regroup with his teammates, because that's what they're going to do.
Oh, no.
Jin is already right here. He's already spotted out one. They're very much afraid about this, but Jin Sanity is hitting all of the good shots alongside his teammate. The Jin GN Sanity connection, it is working here. Raph, as Savvy and Brain Freeze, I don't think they have any vision or any post-plans that they can work with this one, but somehow they're still making it happen. But Gian picks up the 4K. His teammate defuses the spike, and now Alpha Esports back on the driver's seat once again.
And did you see Jin bulldoze his way toward yellow? Typically, you'd be a little more careful, but once again, sometimes as Arena and as a duelist in general, you just gotta hold W, man. Absolutely fearless, homing every single person towards BREN in a much more manageable funnel. As we saw, the heat from Gian and from Jin looks like it's a little too much for BREN to handle, at least in that round, but still that bank that they've been saving up, it's really paying its dividends now, as we are still on a very, very healthy buy with very, very healthy utility on the side of the boys in black and yellow. Nearly lands the hot shot is hot sauce though, Asar. That could have been a big, big opener.
Really could have been. There is just so many times that Chris M's utility allows Jin and Gian to just reposition and get these cheeky little off angles that catches BREN even by a tiny bit, and it gashes and gnaws and turns into a big wound that results in BREN losing. Speaking of which, they are just 2 away from losing this first map, if ever. Very back and forth fight. Hot Sauce still hoping that maybe he can find something as he peeks through again on Belt. The rest of BREN now going to be looking to shoot their shot on B, as EJ has the dash. Charges right out, but Chang is waiting with the op, or with the tour de force. He spots out Savvy. Savvy should be very afraid of this. He's going to have to wall up. Ooh. That was very close.
30 seconds left.
Close indeed. And you know how confident Ching can be. He is not going to be shaken by whatever rounds that's been thrown his way, but the HP advantage is definitely in the favor of BREN. They look to equalize this, as the economy is still looking somewhat shaky on the side of AE. And wow, Ching, I don't care. He swings, he doesn't get hit, but Ryu finds a second with a double shock. Beautiful stuff, and look at this! He's not even letting go! Oh my lord. Like a thief in the night. AE Pro are now in match point. What a hero play. Lord almighty.
Oh man, that was shocking to say at the least.
I hope you can see my camera, because I'm staring at my camera right now. This is intently for you.
I was just gonna say, even though they did have that lineup, again, Snakebite as a Molly util, probably the worst you'd want for an instantaneous, like, oh no, I'm getting mollied, I gotta run away kind of ability, right? Because it has the lowest take rate of damage, so somebody can actually just full defuse something if they're already halfway done or something, compared to like maybe the Brimstone Molly or something.
Oh my god.
Saw it.
Oh my god.
Oh,
that's
my
actually Chris
goodness.
M to thread the needle. Everybody on BREN has been teasing AE. This entire match, they've been jiggling, they've been shoulder peeking, every single thing. And you know, AE, they want to fight. They really want to fight. Sometimes it's to their own detriment, but so far success has been had. If Jin can find Zavy, then this is going to be so problematic, as that spike is going to fall in no man's land. He is going to reaggress. He still has an E available, but instead he goes for the Devour. Symbol and Hot Sauce. They tear apart the resistance on the side of Chris M and Jin, and suddenly the anchors They are gone. Reduced to 2v3 now as Bren, Symbol, and Hot Sauce, who've been oh so reliable,
One enemy remaining.
will feel the wrath
Spike
and the
down
cover of Are Ryu and Ching the God, and Ching making the biggest moments his own. Can he find a double? But this double swing, it's a little too
Defenders
much
win.
for Bren as they lose map 1. AE Pro looking like, well, the AE Pro that we know